Hey YouTube, welcome back. So today I'm going to walk you through what you need to do if you aren't seeing the results or the progress that you're after. So whether or not you're starting out and you're just simply not seeing the progress initially, or whether you've seen progress at the beginning, but now it's stopped or now it's slowing down. What you need to do in those two scenarios to then get the ball rolling again or to start seeing that progress that you're after. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to get a fat loss response, trying to be proactive with the things that you feel should be right and that you should be doing, and then not seeing the results that you have expected in your head. Now, you actually might be doing some things that you need to be doing. The actions that you might be taking might very well be ones that are beneficial for your goal. However, if you are not nailing one certain aspect, you aren't going to see the results that you're after. And I'm going to walk you through right now what that aspect is and then how or what you need to change to make sure that you're nailing that fundamental factor. If you do find this video throughout, please do drop a like. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. If you've got any questions throughout, throw them down below. Okay, so that one important factor that you need to be making sure that you are nailing if you're looking to get a fat loss response and continue to progress is that you need to be in a calorie deficit, okay? And what that means is you need to be taking in less food than you are burning, than you are expending, okay? So output here is more, so we've got this negative energy balance, or what's called a deficit. Now, if you're not in this deficit, you will not be dropping body fat, okay? So if you're not seeing the progress that you want, or if you were seeing the progress that you want but is now stopped or slowing down, what is happening is that you're coming out of this deficit, or you were never in one to begin with, and you're going to be in at least what we like to call maintenance or a neutral energy balance. Okay, and what this means is that your output or your expenditure and your input is basically the same. Okay, so if weight's holding and it's not shifting, chances are you're at maintenance. You're not in this deficit where output is higher or more than your intake. So when you're in this situation, it's very simple in terms of what you need to be doing to put yourself in a deficit. We need to control these two factors, our intake, our output, and we need to adjust them in a way that makes sure our output is higher than our intake. Okay, so we're basically going from this maintenance that we'll likely be in, or close to maintenance if progress is slow, and we need to revert back to putting ourselves in a deficit. So to put ourselves in a deficit again, intake needs to be lower than our output. So that can look like either 1, reducing food intake, or 2, increasing expenditure, or 3, doing a bit of both. Now, depending on you as an individual and your situation, is going to depend which is going to be the best tactic, okay? If you're short on time, you might not have the time to really drive expenditure up. So dropping food intake might be the best option. If your food intake is already quite low, then you might not really want to drop food anymore. So then taking expenditure up might be the best option. If you've got a bit of time and you don't really want to drop food too much, then doing a bit of both, taking expenditure up, dropping food a little bit, might be your best option, okay? However, we need to make sure that we're creating this deficit where intake is lower than our output. Once we make those adjustments, we put ourselves back into a calorie deficit, we'll start seeing that progress again that we're after. The last thing to mention on this is you do have to be very consistent with your output and with your expenditure on, let's say, a week-to-week basis, okay? If you're not consistent on that, what can happen is intake and expenditure can both fluctuate quite a lot from week to week, which means one week you might find yourself in a deficit, the next week you might find yourself not in a deficit, okay? If one week expenditure's up here and the next week it's down here and vice versa with intake, that's just going to mean our energy balance is doing the exact same thing, jumping up and down, and we're not really going to know where we're at and therefore what progress or what results to expect. This is why control over these two factors, intake and expenditure, and consistency of them from week to week is so important. So if you're not controlling either of these factors and you're simply guessing or winging, then you could potentially find some issues and get very frustrated as to why you're not seeing consistent progress. Hope this video helped. If it did, please do drop a like. If you haven't already, subscribe so you can catch more of these videos. And if you have any questions, throw them down and I'll get back to you. Take care.